Hi Beta, this is Armand. So I'm going to today advocate for the Green Party as the best option for the United States. Let's first respond to some of your arguments and then go on to the constructive reasons why I think the Green Party is the critical advocate. Alright, first you make arguments that talk about that the status quo is broken, and we need a third party to change things. I completely agree. The third party we need to select is not the Libertarian Party, the Green Party. I'll get to some specific reasons why. Next, you talked about freedom and independence. Here, the Green Party offers a better alternative. You specifically say that the libertarians say that the federal government has no power to control your body or your individual property or any personal decisions, right? The problem is that the libertarians only go so far as to say that the state governments cannot be controlled by federal governments. However, I don't believe that state level oppression is any better than federal oppression. Sure, it's great to get the federal government out of controlling women's bodies, but the libertarians don't go far enough, and they allow individual states to continue that oppression. Religious oppression is just as bad whether it's by a state government or by a federal government. We need to eliminate both. Now let's talk about your arguments on the Federal Reserve, government intervention. Here's where our biggest differences lie. Specifically, you argue that government intervention is responsible for economic collapse. However, you need to actually analyze the data and see what economists say. First, I point out that according to the analysis conducted by the Federal Reserve, as well as multiple studies at Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, and multiple economics departments, they found that swings of depression and swings of collapse, such as the market panics of 1863, 1893, and of course the Great Depression, all occurred in era prior to large efforts of government intervention. Specifically, this happened because markets are prone to speculation and panic. The Green Party believes that markets are a good thing, but they also believe that governments are sometimes necessary to check the excesses of the market. For example, specifically analysis conducted by Booker and specifically Milton Friedman, a libertarian, argues that the role of the Federal Reserve was critical in the actions of the Great Depression. They argue that the Federal Reserve, because they had too tight a monetary policy, specifically caused the Great Depression to occur. Was this prescribed solution? A loosening of monetary policy, specifically by pegging us off of the gold reserve. When we took ourselves off of the gold reserve, the economy skyrocketed. Secondly, that federal austerity policies advocated by the Libertarian Party, specifically cuts, cause negative fiscal multipliers. Specifically, I want to point to a study conducted by the IMF of European economies, which found that when the UK, Germany, and France all pursued austerity measures, they saw a massive economic contraction. In fact, they can't find a single indication of a country that managed to cut its budget in a time of recession and not cause bad negative economic effects. Why does that happen? Because in a time of recession, it's essentially what the market freezes. We have market panic, where investors don't want to invest their money, which means that consumers don't have any money to spend. What a government to do in those cases, because it's the only last safe borrower, and borrows from the top level investors, gives to the poorest and middle class, they spend that money, which causes a positive fiscal multiplier. When they spend that money, businesses hire more, which causes more people to spend money, and it kickstarts the economy back to growth. Keynesians don't believe this is necessary at all times, and neither does the Green Party. But in terms of recessionary economics, the data, the numbers, and the history are profoundly on the side of the Green Party and not the Libertarians. So let's talk about wars. Specifically, I've argued the Green Party has an even more pacifist stance than the Libertarian Party. We consistently endorse nonviolence, consistently endorse non-intervention. Next, you argue about states. Again, I want to apply the argument I made about state control specifically here. State control is just as bad. Finally, you make an argument about government regulation. Here's the thing about government regulation. Government regulation can often be very beneficial. While I believe that sometimes government regulation is a bad thing, on net it's critical and important, specifically because economists talk about what's called information asymmetry. Decisions, for example, about which shoes to buy, which car to buy. But when you have decisions where one person has much less information than the other, such as the medical field, it's really important for the government to provide necessary regulation and licensing. This is why in the prior to medical licensing in the 1900s, we had snake oil salesmen, false medication, and a dysfunctional healthcare system. For all those reasons, I am proud to negate on this resolution and to stand for the Green Party. Thanks.